I want to talk to you today about what happens when we face an obstacle. You know, the one miracle that's recorded in all four Gospels is the feeding of the 5,000. But I want to focus on the one that's in John's Gospel today. And in John chapter 6, verse 5, it says, "When Jesus looked up and saw a great crowd coming towards him, he said to Philip, 'Where shall we buy bread for all these people to eat?' He asked this only to test him because he already had in mind what he was going to do. Well, what's your first response when you're faced with an obstacle? Do you analyze the situation? Do you seek out the most logical solution? Or maybe you're a realist, or maybe the option you see is a long shot. Maybe you figure there's no way it's going to work out, or maybe you're a skeptic, or maybe you look at the odds and say there's nothing that there's going to happen here. Maybe you're a believer and think, I can overcome this. You see, God wants us to be like the believer that's going to go to Christ first, even with the limited resources and with whatever overwhelming problem it is. Too often we find ourselves somewhere between a realist and a skeptic and a blind person as to what we are and what God can really do. You see, Jesus' own disciples found themselves in that same dilemma when that huge crowd gathered. As the feeding time approached, noon or whatever time of day it was, their thoughts turned towards lunch, and Philip, being the realist, quickly calculated how much it would cost, and he thought, how much denarii worth of bread, it was going to be impossible to feed them. Well, Andrew stepped up and says, "Well, I just saw a boy in the crowd. He's got a lunch here, but what is that amongst so many?" But the boy just offered what he had. He bought what limited resources he had and brought it to Jesus' feet. That 5 loaves and 2 fish. No idea how that could help. This boy offered all he had to Jesus. He was the believer in the story. And using that small lunch, Jesus miraculously fed everyone with leftovers to spare. So who are you in the story? Are you like Philip or Andrew or the boy? Next time you're facing an obstacle, remember the ways that God has blessed you in the past and look to Him to discover all that God can do, even when you're looking at the situation and think, I don't know if this is going to work out or not. God might be just doing something miraculous in your life and might be thinking, I might have some limited resources here, but in God's hands, those limited resources can be a whole heck of a lot.